Hi, everybody, and hi, Jess Tamang is our guest today on the Inspiring Conversations series. I think you're the seventh interview that we've done. 7 is a very lucky and magical number. And it's so fantastic to have you here. I met Jess about probably around 2-3 years ago when I was in Sydney, and Jess is from Nepal and was connected with our work at 7 Women through our country director, and Jess has been in touch ever since. And the thing that inspires me the most about you, Jess, is just, you have to be quite brave to be an international student coming out here from a country like Nepal, not knowing anything about Australia, not knowing where you're going to stay, or the completely new surroundings. So I admire your courageous spirit to venture out here to begin with, to continue your studies in accounting, to do a master's of accounting here. And I know from knowing many international students that it's the journey is not always easy. There's a lot of challenges, with the new environment and finding your way in a new place. So I'd love to have a chat with you about that and just the different worlds, coming from Nepal. Also, your role in helping and working as a support in your role as a student success support. Is it? Yeah, student success support at ATMC, a Sydney University for international students. And then we'll get into the group that we've started and things like that. So welcome, and thanks.
Yes, thank you so much, Stephanie. First of all, I'm really glad to have this time with you and introducing me so beautifully, introducing me as a courageous woman here. And to have this chat with you, standing as a courageous woman, is it's really a privilege for me. And yeah, thank you so much for inviting for me. And then yes. It's been really a challenging time for me as an international student being in Australia, like as you described, like because I just want to take my story back to Nepal. In this context, I finished my bachelor's in business administration with a major in finance, bachelor's back in Nepal, and then I took a gap for a year because I literally wanted to take that work experience and really wanted to enjoy what it really feels like working, rather than just keep on studying by myself. And then I took this really brave decision to come to abroad, coming to Australia. I knew Australia has always been a wonderful destination for international student, but seeing hearing the stories and having that experience by yourself in an international context as an international student is really a challenging time. Actually, it's really I think, yeah, it, as you described, it really takes the courage, because if you talk about Nepal and Nepalese context and how they study and how they run their social and education life, because is that all of us are always dependent on family financial situations or family context to be able to for all kinds of our needs. And then getting a complete break from that level of dependency in terms of everything from your food to rent to finances to everything, and taking this step towards international education at your own is really a challenging thing that we not only me, in fact all the Nepalese students at this moment, because everybody wants to go to abroad, everybody wants to come to Australia. And then yes, and and then the very first day when I came to taking the decision was actually very easy, because you take that decision instantly. But when you really have to survive that decision, leave that decision, that phase is really that phase needs really courage and bravery, whatever you want to name it. And then when I landed in Australia for the first time, that I had one of my brother, Raj Mandai, he's an agent as well, whom I worked, and because of whose help I'm here in Australia. He was already there in airport waiting for me to pick up. But then when I landed in the airport, I was like, that first 5 minutes, I was like, where am I? Every single person, every single thing I see there, I saw there in the airport was like, I don't know anyone, anything in this country. Where I have a car, where have I come? I just felt like, going back away, taking that flight back to Nepal straight away. But I had to accept where I decided to came. And yeah, the first few months was really struggle, because I was not ready to accept where I am. I was not ready to accept that I was away from my family. Every night, every day when I go back to my room after my study and work, I did not find my family. I did not find my mom, my dad, my brother, whom I love so dearly. That was really and emotionally hurting for me. And then I was not ready to accept. And when I was not ready to accept that fact, I was really frustrated. And then it was really frustrating time for first few months. But then I realized that acceptance is the first, I think it's the first rule that everybody who comes to Australia, or everybody who goes to anywhere like away from their families and their comfort zone, they need to accept that where they are, and keep on constantly reminding that I took this decision to come here, and I should be able to accept the responsibility as well. And then, yeah, from the moral ground, from your spirit point of view, your ability to accept where you are, why you are, and constantly reminding your goals and whatever you plans and why you decided to come here was really important for me. So after that, first few months was really emotional struggle for me, constantly, because I had never been, I always stayed with my family ever since I was born. I didn't even study in any another city, even within the Nepal. I was only with my family, my mom, dad, and everything, and all within my family only. And although I was a very extrovert and outgoing person back in Nepal, so like it, although I was so much extrovert, involving in different activities socially, with friends, with events and everything, even being that kind of extrovert person, I felt that I really had difficult times finding myself, where I am and why I am here. Why did I choose? Sometimes I really used to cry. Why did I choose to come? But then I cried. But then I realized I was crying because I forgot why I was there. So it was very important for me to remember why I came here. And then, so yeah, that was moments, that was time when I started and how I started my journey. Yeah, that was in the beginning. But when I look back now, I have overcome a lot of things, a lot of, like, first time you the first thing that hits you when you come to Australia is like first few weeks you'll enjoy new place, new people, wow, free life, freedom. So these things really attract you, and you really kind of get yourself involved and get yourself away with the kind of all the beautiful things in Australia. You have good places to go, you have good bars and restaurants to hang out, you have you basically you take your life in your own control. But once that week passes, and your pocket money runs out, and then you remember now.
Mm.
And then you get to that point where that really hits you hard in terms of finding that first job to help you living, in paying your rent, paying your transportation, foods, all the expenses. So getting that first job is really a struggle, because you really need a good network of people who are ready to help you, and good network of friends who are ready to advise you.
I think
So
I think you've just mentioned some really critical points and really important points and the first one is, that the two different worlds, that Nepal is a very much an extended family and everyone lives together. So coming from that situation to here, where we're very kind of nucleus family, and a lot of young people move out of their houses here quite young,
yeah, that's right.
become independent. And also, it was interesting hearing you talking about wanting to be independent, that feeling of being independent, but then the loneliness and isolation that can come with that, and then the importance of controlling your thoughts, and accepting, okay, this is what I've chosen, this is where I'm here, how can I make the best of this situation? And I really understand where you're coming from, because sometimes when I leave Nepal, on my trips, and I see, it's a sad, airports are sad places if I really think about it, and I'm really aware of what's happening around me, because families and mothers and fathers are saying goodbye, and brothers and sisters saying goodbye to their loved ones and their siblings, and some of them are going to Qatar to work for 5-10 years, and some of them are going to Dubai, Malaysia, Thailand, and it's sad saying that, and sometimes the parents or the siblings have never been outside Nepal, so they actually have no idea where their kind of brothers and sisters are going. So so I really understand that, and I think that ability that you had to just kind of accept where you were, and the fact that I chose this, and I'm going to be grateful and focus on the positives and how what you could do about it. But the other thing you mentioned was network. I think having a network here, like a lot of people don't have networking when they come here. Some people might know an auntie or an uncle or a loose connection, or some people might have family members, but I can imagine how challenging it would be if you didn't know anyone and you just came here, you didn't know what you were. I remember because a lot of Nepalese people go and work abroad in kind of labor jobs, and there's the manpower agencies in Nepal that recruit kind of construction workers and things like that. And there's a lot of issues with that industry, because sometimes the manpower agencies, they take a fee and a cut for those people travelling overseas, and they promise to put them in a role that will pay them a good wage. And the families are expecting a lot of money and remittances to be paid back to Nepal. And when they arrive in that country, they get such a rude awakening about the conditions where they have to live, and some of them are treated very badly. So, Australia would be one of the better places to come, of course, because it's not like that. But that being in a new environment and needing to make your way on your own, I imagine, can be very difficult. And I know that, and I'd love you to kind of tell me your experience about, I know that international students have a craving to meet local people, but that's not always possible. Like, it can be quite difficult to make local friends. And how have you gone about that?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Actually, like to this last point, trying to, because when you have that dream of going abroad, you obviously you have that thoughts in your mind, you have that vision in your mind that you'll be now going to abroad, meeting to new people from new country with new cultures, especially the white people, because we make them our role models, and we really want to uh, get to that level of development, confidence, and learn a lot of things, which we aspire, which from which we are about aspire ourselves and inspire ourselves as well. But then coming to here, it just really but this is truth to be told, we don't really get that opportunity, because we really don't actually, like, I cannot talk about many other people, but in my own personal experience and with my friends, I see we really have less point of contacts to be able to contact the local people here, because when we come to universities and colleges, because the culture of coming to Australia, going to any other abroad country is so much in Nepalese community, in Nepal, that every college and universities here are filled with Nepalese students now, more than local students. So that kind of, that was quite off, because I did not expected this, of course, because we do make some research, but like, there's one I really realized after coming here, that we don't come so much prepared. We do research, but we always do the half job, we don't do a complete research of where we are studying, what kind of people will be there, from which countries, how you're gonna befriend them, how you're gonna keep yourself away from good like from bad people and get in touch with good people, so things like that. So I had really that good imagination that I would have lots of international students and lots of international people to interact with. I was really excited, but when I entered my classroom, I had all Nepalese, all Nepalese in my first bench, last bench, middle bench. And then when you go to our workspaces as well, because it's so much of Nepalese community has grown so wider, even if you go to your workplaces, you'll find Nepalese. But Having said this, in my context, I have been quite lucky. I really feel myself sometimes lucky because I really had that good network. I knew some people here, and now I know you. I'm having this conversation with you, so this is my privilege, and which is a great learning experience, because when you talk to new people, you have new topics to talk about. You have new experiences. Sometimes it's really important for you to know people out of your comfort zone, so that you know how to deal very well with any zone that is uncomfortable to you. And then I really had good international friends, actually. And actually, in 2018, I'm not sure, it was 18 or 19, I had an opportunity to participate in Australian leadership program that happened in Canberra. So that like, so when I saw that leadership program filled with a lot of international faces, which was my imagination back then I thought my classroom would be like that, which did not happen. But that particular event ran for a week, like 3-4 days. And I was really that was really a great moment for me to know someone different from me, someone different from my country. And I took it was a great experience. It was organized by Parliament, Australian Parliament, which was a great event to know for me, because I realized that how actively the Australian government works for its youths, like to organize a national level of literacy programs to uh, for the Australian youths, for the young people, be it international, local, or whatever it is. But I knew that the government does a lot of things. So these are the things, you learn when you come to new places, and then you go back and take these ideas and try to do for your country and whatever the resources available to you.
So reaching out to different groups,
That
once you get your basic needs settled, a place to live and that sort of thing, reaching out to groups has been a good way for you to integrate into Australian society and meet people outside of the Nepalese community. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So you know what? There's a good and bad. There is a good point of it, because you have a lot of Nepalese people, because they know you, they know your language, they know where you come from, they can understand your financial, your social structures back in your home, and then they can be of a good help to you. But when it comes to take lessons from learning point of view, it is very important for you to have that different group and that different level of interactions. Then only you'll be able to change yourself. You'll able to find out what's that is not in you, and what is that is not in other people, so that you know how to differentiate yourself. Sometimes, so for many international students, so because people come here with a lot of any international student come here with a lot of excitement, expectations in terms of having new group, new friends, and learning new things, because we really come here for learning. But when we come here and then don't see the environment that we seek for, that we actually thought of finding, then it sometimes leads you to it decreases your level of excitement, and it sometimes, not directly but indirectly, reduces the excitement, reduces that kind of energy you had, and then it kind of takes you back. That's what I feel. It may not directly put you into depression or things like that, but indirectly, this is also that small component, that small element in a chain that that can lead to a different different what you call different uh, like a difficult time in your life as well.
Yeah, when the expectations aren't met. Yeah. I'd love to ask you just about one more question about some of the pressures, and then I'd love to ask you about the new initiative that you're involved with in supporting international students. So I know that the studies, the fees are very high here for international students. It's the way that the universities make a lot of money from international students, but the visa restrictions are, I think for students it's that they're not allowed to work if they're on a certain visa over 20 hours a week. So, a lot of international students come here and they don't have a lot of savings, and sometimes their families have even sold land or, most of their assets because the parents are so they're so wanting their children to have good opportunities in the future and not be labourers like they were, you know, in the farmland for the rest of their life. They're willing to save everything they have and sell it to send their children away to get a good education. And there's a lot of pressure and a lot of expectation, as we're talking about, that comes with that. So when international students come here, they've got all of that on their shoulders, the expectation not only from themselves but from their entire family. And I know that, you know, sometimes there can be also just the idea that because they're living in a wealthy country, they're earning loads of money and they've got loads extra that they can send back, you know, pocket money to their families and friends. So I can imagine the toll that that could take, you know, if you weren't mentally strong and you didn't kind of think, no, I'm going to focus on all the good things here and not take that pressure on, because it is a real
exactly,
you know?
exactly, yeah.
So if you're not allowed to work more than 20 hours and you've got $20,000 uni fees, you know, per semester or to pay, that's huge. I mean, I've known students that haven't slept because they're working like, you know, all day, and then their classes are at night, or their classes are during the day and they work all night just to be able to earn enough. So when this whole period of lockdown happened, that we're experiencing at the moment, international students, like, I was really thinking about, they were one of the groups that I was thinking about, you know, how are they during this time, both the isolation that some may feel, but if they've lost their jobs in restaurants and the hospitality industry, I mean, what's
yes.
and just
You've actually described the situation very well. You know, coming as an international student, we just not. Yes, we do come as international student, but when we remain here, we do not remain as international student only. We remain as a labored, as a waste-based workers as well, because you know most of our living expenses we try to make by ourselves, and then we do have that career dreams, study dreams, but then more than that, the heavier weight that we put on our soldiers is being able to is to try to be able to, you know, pay all the financial debts that my family had they took on the soldiers just to send me abroad to have a good education, to be able to get exposed to the opportunities, which might in turn help to change the financial and social situation back in Nepal, right? So this expectation in itself has been the burden of this expectation that sometimes some parents put on the students, sometimes students themselves, because you know most international student who comes to Australia are is 18 plus, especially. So this 18 plus to between the 30. So between this age group, every single individual tries to make sure that they take their family responsibility financially, you know, and then uh, and take their financial control, and then help family financial. But with the pressure to pay the fees of like 10,000, at least a 10,000 a semester, a trimester, and then so having that pressure to pay a fee, study well, also and also be able to meet that family's financial expectation really puts international students in a depressive state of time, and they are ready to do any kind of job, any kind of, you know, occupation that can give them a few dollars an hour, so that they are able to meet their all study goals and family goals as well. So in this period, I have seen many of my friends who have gone to a greater level of depression, and then many of them have returned back to their country, to Nepal as well, not being able to cope up with the situations emotionally, financially, and socially. And then so while this situation was already there, with the arrival of this global pandemic COVID-19, the situation has gone even more worse. As I worked in a student, I because in my personal case, I'm lucky enough because I did not have to go through that level of depressive points, because I had people non here. I had my family back then country who were able to help me in some ways, and I had my friends here who helped me to to survive the to survive my my 2 years in Australia. And I completed my studies, and now this is my third year in Australia. So I've finished my so even because of COVID-19, maybe I'm not in that situation, that very worst situation, but I have seen so many of my friends, so many of students, because I worked in a position of student success support in ATMC. So during that role, because I see I got that chance to get direct exposure with students who are facing way high level of stress at this point of time because of COVID-19. Because every semester we students are required to pay at least a 10,000. This is an average international student fees. So I'm not just talking about my college, but that's a basic, that's the normal average fees that students normally pay. So having required to pay this fee, and then the students are literally with no options left. Some students are having struggle to feed. They come to me, many students come to me, and then they try to share the story. They have lost their job because COVID pandemic, COVID-19 is not just for one person, it's for the entire country and entire sector. So every sector has been affected, everybody have lost their job, they're not able to pay their fees, and then they are not able to pay even their rent. And there are lots of daily expenses that every single cent of the expenses are beared by themselves. So now when they don't have a job, and then plus they have a visa restriction, so international student status at this point of time is really beyond the imagination. I just feel so I really feel very sad on this, because not being able to do anything for them directly. But however, just now we have started our international student support network on Facebook group. So we're trying to reach to those internationals who need who need help in terms of surviving in Australia. And we are trying to reach as many as friends that we can reach, and trying to know what kind of help they need and how we'll be able to help them in in this point of time. So yes, this is especially for international student, because every single cent is they have to earn every day to feed themselves, to bear that every single cent expenses for themselves. So I really cannot imagine how especially those students who have just arrived 3 months back. So the moment they arrived, the COVID-19 things happened, and they had to, because this is their first semester, and no student can skip their first semester as well. So by the law, the first semester is compulsory for any international student to uh, study once they are here. So there are a lot of things students had to struggle during this point of time. As I mentioned, like coming to an international country for the very first time, it's already a very difficult task for them, difficult thing to do for them. And on top of that, and then on top of this, getting ready, trying to fight with this new pandemic that's now. So because nobody was really prepared, nobody was really prepared for this kind of situation. So it's really sad, it's really
So
sad for
I think
staff.
it's I think in times like this, it's a good time for people with a platform who are not as affected by it, that do have networks, maybe locals that are more connected than someone who's just arrived. Think, how can we support people around us, that are less that are vulnerable to this situation. And I think so one of the ways that we thought we could do that through JCI, Junior Chamber International, a global organisation for young people. There's a group here in Melbourne called JCI Melbourne, and 7 women actually won an award last November in Estonia through that network, and that's how I came to know about JCI. And this year I took on a role of president of the JCI group in Melbourne, and there's one of the group members, Saroj, inspired me because he is an international student from Nepal and was, faced with this situation himself because he worked in hospitality. So JCI is an organisation that basically has members, and then they can do community projects. And I thought, well, why don't we start a community project with what's affecting these members, because they're going to be the most passionate about it. You know, there's 3 in the group that are from different countries: Russia, Africa, and Suraj from Nepal. And so that made sense to me. And then it was about, you know, then I thought of you, because I know that you're really passionate and compassionate about helping others. But it's about thinking of what we can do together. You know, we can do so much more together. And even you know, in creating this group, there's other groups out there on Facebook for international students, but it's, I think, where we can bring value is to create a community for students that might be feeling isolated, you know, because if you can think positive, you know, I believe that thoughts create your reality, you know. So if you can get in that you know, vibration of gratitude and joy and happiness and love, and put your mind at peace and control your thoughts, then you're going to attract better things into your life. You know, that's been the story of my life and how I've done what I've done. So so the idea of the support network for international students is to just create a space for students, and anyone who's watching this, if you know international students, they're very welcome to come, and non-international students who want to be a part of the group, because that's also, you know, fulfilling the need of integration. You know, people that want to meet people from different countries. So it's not just, you know, international students, but for the group to be a place where they can support each other with information that they've received on, you know, maybe what support they've got during this time, or jobs that are available, or, you know, when we collaborate and support each other, we can just grow so much faster together. And I think there's right. So much more of that, you know, in all sectors of society. And I think so I'm really grateful to have you involved in that group, because I know that you've spoken to so many international students in your role, and you understand deeply the issues and the needs of international students in this time. And you know, just also knowing that as we create this group, we don't have to be everything to everyone. We don't have to solve all the problems, but in the group of, there's about 8 of us in the JCI group, you know, we've all got our own network. So if we don't know how, we can ask someone in the network, or we can partner with organisations that do support. So we're very excited about our first Zoom call on Wednesday, and you've been inviting students into the group, and so is Saroj and others, that we're going to have the Zoom call, and we're just going to have a conversation about sharing stories, because it's also, you know, and I've noticed this with 7 women in Nepal, just the ability or the space to be able to share your story if you're in a place of feeling isolated is huge for someone, in terms of shifting and letting go of that and feeling like they belong to a group that can support them, or even just hear their story, you know. So yeah, so we're doing a Zoom on Wednesday night, and that'll be a place where we can, as a group and as a new initiative, understand the needs, and then start connecting up, you know, people that can support the members of the group.
Yes, that's right. Actually, you know, Stephanie, you have always been my inspiration. I think I've mentioned to you before as well. You've already done so much of your incredible work to Nepal and Nepalese women through 7 work. That's been my sole part of my inspiration to do anything for the society where I belong, and also to where I don't belong. You know, you being an Australian, I'm just surprised by to see how you helped so much in Nepal already, and even during this point of time, although you're not able to travel back and forth, even just by being in Australia, you're trying to do as much as you can to any international people who have been suffering, or you know, who had bad experiences and who is having bad experiences. So, and you've always inspired me. I think I sent you one email long years back, because I read about you in a Wave magazine that used to be one of the very popular magazine in Nepal, and I used to be kind of a reading person, searching through the magazine and keeping note of that. I see that inspired me, and you were there already. And then later after reading about you in a magazine, and then later I came to know you know about 7 Women, and about you through Anita, you know. And then I was like, oh my God, they work together. I should be, I don't think you remember or not, but there's, if you check back your email, there's one email I sent you long year. I don't remember which year was that. Hi Stephanie, this is Jessica. Anita gave me Anita. I'm Anita's sister. I tried to, and then today being able to have a chat with you like this. So it is exactly what you told. If you have that sense of gratitude, real gratitude, and a positive thing, and you really see that positive thing, that will come to you. So this has exactly happened in my life as well. Long years back, I read about you. I think I've done a lot of class presentations about seven women work even during my college projects here. And now I'm having this chat with you. You invited me to our international student support network. So this is happening, so I even like you, I really do believe in my thoughts, what I'm thinking, and how I can attract what I think law of attraction, this is really very much popular in this, these days in Facebook and videos. But then I would really request people to not just scroll through the videos and YouTube's on Facebook, but really do practice and believe it in your life to make any positive things happen in your life. So this is actually happening to me, and especially to any international student, this is my deeper request, because along with the because when you start a new journey in international any country, wherever you are, definitely there will be struggles coming in, but always keep a faith in the positivity that you had faith, and because of which you took a decision to come abroad. So if you have that positivity, there can be pebbles and stones on the way, but one day you'll definitely be that positive note which sparked you to take that decision to walk that path. So you should always believe, and this law of attraction actually works in your life if you believe in it with your conscious mind. So yeah, so this is what I've realized very lately. And so my practices, my current practices are always to believe in the positive thing that I think that should happen in my life. There can be obstacles on the path, but then we just need to ignore that, that middle constraints and obstacles, and then only focus on that positive goal. This will definitely happen. There are and that it says, there's a saying, so I don't remember the saying exactly, but that the universe is all within us. So which means universe is within us means every positive thing that you can imagine is within you. You just need to be able to open up yourself consciously and see what's inside you and what you want to grab for yourself. So this is a really good mantra, that spell that especially any people who are struggling, they should always have faith in positive parts or positive aspects of your life, and have the sense of gratitude with whatever you have achieved, little or more, so that that coming can keep coming on you. Because I can only be able to help any other person as long as that person encourages me through their gratitude. And so even things are just like that, you just need to have that gratitude with whatever you have, more or less. Now tomorrow it will be more, definitely.
And it's free, and that's you described that beautifully, Jess, because that's the best place to start. There's always things to be grateful for, always, no matter what situation you're in. So if you start there, you will notice that things start to change in your life, because we create our reality with everything.
Exactly.
That is 100% what I believe and what I've experienced in my life. So that's a great place to start if you are feeling a bit flat. If you want to try and shift your state, shift your state of mind. Think of different things you can do. You can put on a song that lights you up. You can go for a walk in nature. I think there's nothing more powerful about connecting you to that, part of yourself. As you said, the universe is within you, that energy that we all have inside of our bodies that gives us breath, and that life force. There's nothing more effective than actually just getting back out to nature and getting into the senses and becoming present, and out of our heads. Because there's the what's happening in our lives, but then it's what we make it mean. And that's when we start getting very confused and heavy in our thoughts sometimes, when we can just choose to think positive things and stay in gratitude, and that's when things start to shift, you know, and you attract things into your life. And I'd just like to say thank you to you, because you came out to Australia, and I think it was in your first few months that you were here, that you wanted to help 7 women, and we caught up in Sydney when I was up there with my family in January, and I think we did a market stall with 7 women products, selling them in Manly Beach with Kate.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did try. Yeah, that was a really good experience because of so many things going on. Because that was just my starting year, and we couldn't continue any longer. But those days, like no matter how many days, I think we did one because it was a market. Organized. I think it was a Saturday, and that whole day was such. I was enjoying. Maybe I was not making much sales, but because I had that opportunity to talk about the community and what 7 Women is doing, and how it's making difference in people's life. I was so happy. I was that every single day, every single moment, and that feelings and thoughts that I was going through, that I still remember. And then just to see that product, this is from from one of my Nepalese sister back in the country, and I'm selling it here. I never imagined, I could be part of that incredible project. So it was, yeah, we really did. We really did. Yeah, but the cost of that creating the market was really high. So we did make some sales, but we had to pay all back to that, expenses that because of that space we took and
I
things
think
like
it was
that.
the fair trade market in Manly,
Yeah,
wasn't
fair trade
it?
market. Yeah,
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 and it was the first time we'd done it. So, but Kate's beautiful, isn't she? My friend in Sydney.
yeah, exactly. I think she's beautiful. I think after that, I attended one of her seminar. It was on the it was energy based
Yeah.
seminar, and then she's also very strongly involved in the spiritual awakening of the people through meditation and things like that. And I'm really fascinated by this, because this is no matter, what I feel is, no matter whatever career, whichever country you travel to, at the end of the day, your true self, finding your true self is what we need to do. But we always try to talk, like we so that's what, she also works on that space. And then I attended one of her event last year. It was on the moon based meditation, because we have a science that moon attracts a lot of energy as well. And it was during the full moon day. So on that full moon day, the energy becomes very high. So we need to it's really important for people to remain like balanced with the energy. So that was the meditation based on. It was really yeah, it was a great experience for me as well.
And I think what you're describing there as well is, society defines success in a certain way, and that actually doesn't work for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people are realizing that now,
Exactly.
during this time, and we must stay connected to what lights us up, and our unique gifts and talents that we are given to share, in the world. And I think when we do that, we are able to actually line up with that life force inside, with the greater energy. And it, for me, I love painting. So sometimes when I'm painting, it feels like, it's coming through me. It's not actually me, and when
Yeah, exactly,
when
exactly.
people.
Like if you, because what I feel is like, so money is something that's very important part of our life. It fulfills all our needs. Sometimes it does gives us happiness as well, but it does not, the happiness from the money is very limited. That's what I feel. Because if I buy things today that makes me happy, it definitely makes me happy today. So it's good that I have money, I can buy things, it makes me happy today, but tomorrow that thing will expire. And then with that, our the intensity of happiness, of my happiness related to that thing, does not last. It will expire with the product that expire. And you can't be buying same thing again and again to feel the same experience, right? To same happiness. But when the happiness is within you, you can get as much as you can magnify the level of your happiness every time, anytime you need. But you just need to find out where your happiness is. So that is within. So if the happiness comes from within you, it will be everlasting. So that's what I feel. So if so, just like you said, you are like there was happiness coming in and through you because of your painting. You can paint all day, the same thing again and again. You can paint, and then you can get experience that happiness within you. Not you not get you did not, you do not even have to worry about earning money to get that happiness, because you can do it just right now. You can just experience within yourself. But so that's why, like, it's money is, I cannot define how important money is. It is really, really very important. We cannot ignore as well. But then how we take money to define our and structure and shape our life, I think that is where the generation now is lacking. And then we get into depression and frustration and overly expectation very soon. And then we get into the trap of this depression and unending depression cycle. So I think, but because of COVID-19, I know it has brought a lot of struggling, unimaginably loss of lives and lot of problems. But if you are positive, you can still see a positive sign in it, in a way that it is giving time for your self reflection, where you are, how you've been doing, and you're having that time to correct yourself if your path was wrong. That is how I have taken. So I'm not that very much active in like social media these days. Before, I used to be a lot, like any teenage and any young, any youth. But these days, I, instead of spending so much time on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, I take some time back to see where I am and where I'm moving. So it has been a lot of, it has brought a lot of changes in my thoughts and my
You've taken,
actions. And
you've
yeah,
taken that time to reflect rather than constantly scrolling through social media.
yeah, exactly. So, and many of my friends really complain that, where are you? You've lost the contact. Please keep in touch. Are you safe? People think that when you're not active in social media, people think that you're lost, that, or that I am in problem. So the system has changed. So if I don't have a status on my Facebook today, to many of people who really like who are looking for my status or story, they think that I'm not well, or I should be in or I'm in some kind of problem. So this is some kind of the mental concepts that we have developed. So I really want to break that, and then still let people know that just relax. I'm fine. I'm taking my time to learn something new. There's nothing wrong with me, that I'm not like so I'm not being that active in so it's not that. So like because YouTube and Facebooks, and then Instagrams, it is very relevant topic for us to talk about now. Because sometimes I feel like, because most of your daily routines are based on your stories, and then someone else stories, someone else Facebook status, your concept, your definition is so much influenced by your friend's status, your friend, what your friend, whether your friend is partying or studying or working. So this really affects your, before I really like to be influencer. I really wanted to influence people. I really want to be a leader type. But then now I realized, no, that was a wrong concept that I had within me. Because uh, I used to read a lot of books, go through a lot of inspirational videos, and read a lot of biography. And I was influenced by every single thing I used to read about. And then I really wanted to become like every good person that I have read about. So those those uh, those uh, those things, those people, those books really influenced upon me. And then I lost myself within that. I failed to find myself while reading and trying to be someone like others. So now, so my philosophy, you can call it philosophy or my concept, whatever it is. If I write anything on YouTube and anything on Facebook, anything on Instagram, it affects someone's life, which is like, if I read something about someone else, the way it affected me, I feel like if I write anything, it will affect someone else's life as well. And then that life will that another person watching my things will try to perceive his life based on whatever he saw on me. And then in some point of time, it can be conflicting to him. He can view himself as me, which is not him. And then he goes into frustration. He will have different expectations for himself. Like he will have the expectation that I had for myself, the same expectation he will have for himself as well. So so this way, by being active in social media, I tend to create more negative impact than the positive impact. I thought I was creating positive impact, but then I realized it was creating more negative impacts on other those people who watch my things. So that's why I have slowly stepped down from the social medias as well, because I think
That's very wise, Jess. That they're very, very wise words, because I think if we're doing stuff and if we've got pressure and it's just causing us to think more and get caught up in our thoughts, whatever we can kind of cut off that's causing us overthinking.
exactly.
If there's certain people that make you think or that trigger you in certain ways, if you don't see a way to resolve that, sometimes it might be better to not be near them anymore, if their energy affects you, or if and also what you said about leadership, that you felt like you wanted to, that you should be,
Yeah,
should be doing this or that or the other. And I think sometimes it's better, and this is very much resonates with my own personal journey at the moment. Sometimes, it's not about leading, it's about sitting back and being led by your intuition, or being in that silence, or creating space for for you to get the nudge from the big boss of what to do next, or who to reach out to, and that is the purpose of life. It's not always about getting out there, and that's what I'm used to doing, because I've done that, and it's almost like a habit of mine, because I've created 7 Women and I've been in that position of leadership for so long. But sometimes, and this is the perfect opportunity during this time, it's about sitting back, reflecting, what do you want to let go of that is not it, it's not allowing you to reach your full potential. Let go of it, in any way that you can. Just let go of it, because your evolution as a human, and you being in that state and tapping into the inner wisdom that we all have within, depends on letting go of that sort of stuff. And when you have that connection, you see your life path, because you feel it, you sense it, you're connected to who you're meant to be. And I believe that we all have different expressions, of that. You might be talented in some area, I'm talented in another area. And also, what you mentioned there about our actions impact everyone around us, and just even if I reflect on that, seeing what I scroll through on Facebook, and I've been really inspired during this time of people that have done Facebook Lives, and that actually inspired me to do one, about a month ago. And I thought, oh my God, I've never thought of doing a Facebook Live. I'll try one, and then my Facebook Live inspired a friend of mine who reached out and said, I'm going to do one. I'm really nervous, but I'm going to do one. I think it's time for me to share, my talents. So our actions, you can think that we're a tiny drop in the ocean, but our energy and the potential within to impact and have that ripple effect on others is incredible. Look at 7 Women. It was an idea that I had when I met the 7 women, and together, it's not like I've created the whole thing. I had the idea and I took action, and yes, I've been involved, but it's rippled out far beyond me now, and that's right. One person's action. So I think in this time, and getting back to international students, and I might end here, and as international students, it's about kind of having gratitude for whatever you can in the moment, reaching out to people. That's very much part of your story. You actually made an effort to reach out. I mean, you reached out to me and said, can I volunteer for 7 Women? And that was when you'd barely been in the country for, and you didn't have everything together at that stage either. But that actually led you to do the market, and you said, that was a great day for you, and you met an Australian girl, Kate, and then that led to you going to one of her workshops, and you met other people there. And so take action and reach out and get connected if you are feeling isolated. And what are the last kind of words of advice that you would give international students that might be watching?
That's right, that's true. The first thing, I think I mentioned in the beginning, acceptance. acceptance is really, really important. Accept the situation. You don't have to be frustrated, whatever your situation is, good or bad. Whatever is coming with you, within you, any good thing coming with you, accept it with a gratitude. Anything that's bad for you, anything that is coming to you, think it's bad, just accept it as a situation which is temporary. So because if you don't accept a situation, most international student, if you know, because most international student, let's say someone is working as a cleaner, it is feeding them, and it is paying their bills, but they will still do the job, but they will do it frustration, with depression, with depressive attitude, with frustrated feelings within it will kill the person inside, you know. So with international student, it is very important you to remain very positive, hopeful, optimistic, and energetic, so that you can do anything that comes your way, and then just walk on, move on, and finish your studies with good grades, and then not get frustrated, because studying is just about 2-3 years. So within that period, it is what I know, the situation will be very difficult for students, but then it is because you need to remain tough in your weakest time. So remaining tough is with your personal attitude, your emotions, and then remaining acceptance. It sounds very simple, but then it is a very strong formula to keep yourself healthy and emotionally positive, no matter whatever comes your way. Just accept it, whatever it is coming. Things will definitely change for you tomorrow if something is bad today. And with lastly, for international students, social medias, as I mentioned, it is very relevant, because most of us are very young. We are very active on Instagram and Facebook, and in most situations we get very much affected by what my friends are posting, and then that affects, mostly the impact is negative. So that's what my experience is like. If I see my friends partying, and I don't have a job today, I feel like, oh, my friends has is partying, he's having 2-3 jobs, he is good, everything for him is going good, but everything for me is going bad. And then you will just think more about your worst situation, and then you just end up being from bad to worse. So be very mindful of what you watch. It's using your social media is, of course, you're right, your source of inspiration sometimes, your source of entertainment sometimes, and your source of knowledge sometimes. But then be mindful to filter the things that you see, and then say whatever you see, just use it to strengthen your mental and your whatever your attitude and positive. This little thing will really help you remain strong.
Yeah, be careful what you're putting into your mind,
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much, Jess. That was really inspiring, and you are a beacon of light for others. You can see the energy and the light in you, and that's because you've kind of made that commitment to yourself to reflect and to stay positive, during this time. So I can't wait to create the support network for international students with you and the others, and have our first call on Wednesday night. And for anyone listening, if you know international students, feel free to refer them to the support network of international students on.
So definitely. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to you. Please accept my gratitude and unconditional love and support for the group and for you. I'm really blessed for having this opportunity with you. Thank you so much for organizing this. And I really feel like something very positive coming on the way through this group, and in collaboration with you. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for creating this wonderful platform and opportunity, and giving me this much time to talk on all whatever my life journey was here in Australia.
Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks so much, Jess.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.